What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Mic Check podcast. This is T-Word, the People's Champ. Thanks for tapping in. Today, we're going to talk about some upcoming boxing news. We're going to talk about some upcoming fights, as well as a few fights that have been delayed. And before we get into this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Go ahead and support the channel by interacting with the videos, letting us know what you think. Feel free to jump on the community tab and see what we have going on, and make sure that you let us know exactly what we could be doing better and what we're doing well, so we can continue to bring you great content. So today we're going to go over some of the major fights that are upcoming that might be of interest to you. Starting with February 25th, there's going to be some fights going on, or a projected fight going on. We're talking about Adrian Broner facing Hank Lundy. Unfortunately, Lundy has been suspended by the California State Athletic Commission. And if I'm not mistaken, that impacts his ability to fight Adrian Broner in Atlanta in a few weeks. There's some things that went on with the promoter that, to my understanding, there was some payment issues. There was some issues about Hank Lundy not taking care of business, being removed from a previous card he's agreed to, and going on to the card on BLK Prime. Now, if we're to believe everything that's been told to us, money isn't the issue with BLK. This is probably an issue of some paperwork not getting done right, or things of that nature. And when the boxers are in control, that's probably one thing that you'll see could happen. They're not really savvy on the business end, so different things can affect their ability to get deals done. That's not to say it won't get done, but as of right now, it looks like the fight is on hold or going to be off, so we're going to mark that as delayed. Now, another fight that's going to be delayed is going to be Josh Taylor at 140 pounds against Jack Catterall, which is a rematch. Taylor has torn his plantar fascia, and that's a pretty significant injury. It affects your ability to walk. You definitely can't plant, pivot, turn, and stuff like that without discomfort. And then over the course of a fight, this could really be something that would affect the fighter in a way that will be very negative. It's not something you should fight through. You should either get the surgery or just wait for it to tear and then start your recovery process. Both those are going to put this fight out of reach. And many are saying that because it's in jeopardy, there may be no need to even have this fight, because this is the second delay of this particular setup. So I don't know where it's going to go. Definitely going to keep an eye on the news and figure out what's going on. Next up, we have a fight coming up in March. It's going to be David Benavidez as well as Caleb Plant. I believe this is on the 25th of March, somewhere in the week of the 20th. I'll get the specific date at a later time when we do the fight preview. But that being said, this is a match that has been danced around for years, and these two guys are finally going to get into the ring at 168 pounds. And I believe this is a WBC title eliminator fight or something of that nature. So this is putting someone in line to potentially either fight for the first time in the case of Benavidez, or rematch Canelo Alvarez, and that's going to be on the Caleb Plant side. I think this is going to be a good fight. Both these guys bring different things to the table. I would say that Caleb Plant is the better boxer overall, but honestly, David Benavidez brings more power and more hand speed. I think ring savvy and foot speed, and maybe even ring IQ, will favor Plant, whereas the ability to put together combinations and finish do favor David Benavidez. So by all accounts, this should be a really good fight. Next up in April, you're going to have Gervonta Davis going to fight Ryan Garcia. And at the moment, there's been contracts passed or agreements passed back and forth, but it looks like nothing's been signed just yet. And that's okay. We still got a little bit of time. We need to see this get done by February if this fight's going to happen in April, because I do believe it has affected another fight that we're going to get to next. Now, Ryan Garcia is a taller fighter, great hand speed, nice power in that left hook. He's got some tools that could give Tank Davis problems. Now, defensively, he does have some deficiencies to keep an eye on, including some footwork issues, and he does fight with his chin in the air a lot, something that's kind of common when guys aren't fighting as often against higher level competition, because they're not getting caught and learning to tuck their chin, Tank Davis, on the other hand, he's going to come in at a disadvantage. He's a shorter man. He's got the shorter reach, but I do believe he has the better boxing ability overall, so that should give him some advantages in the fight. And then he's got the equalizer, that power. And I think the power Ryan has is different than what Tank brings to the table. That rock'em sock'em power he has comes from anywhere, and it's highly explosive. So I think that these two men pose serious danger to each other. And again, in our breakdown in the future, once we get that thing, we see a fight poster, then we'll go ahead and do a breakdown and talk about it. Next up, you've got a fight that I believe was impacted by Garcia and Davis, and that's going to be Errol Spence against Keith Thurman. Now, this fight is being scheduled for May, and I thought it was going to be April, but I think that Premier Boxing Champions doesn't want to put on 2 major pay-per-views in 1 month, so I think that's why they got taken into the May timeframe. This is an old grudge match that I think will play out really well. Spence is really good at working on the inside, and Keith Thurman has weaknesses to the body. Now, on the other hand, I think Keith has an elite ability to move around the ring, which could pose some problems to Spence, even though he's good at cutting off the ring. I think Keith being able to move is going to extend the life of this fight, and it might frustrate Errol Spence. Now, let's also not sleep on the fact that Keith Thurman can crack. He does bring some wallop, and that might give Errol some pause at times, even though he's a dog and likes to fight. If Keith is popping him, he may not necessarily want to stay in that fire too long. He might want to use some other tools. He'll have Derek James in the corner to help with adjustments. So I think that this is going to be another one of those good fights. Next up, also in May, is going to be Canelo Alvarez against John Ryder. This will be a pretty good fight, even though most of us believe that Canelo Alvarez will win the fight. Need to do a little bit more research on John Ryder, but I know that Canelo has changed from the fighter he was to a little bit different. He's more of a plotter who sets up his power shots with strategic footwork and offense. I think he's going to come in with that same strategy, and I feel like from what I've seen of Ryder, he's going to be there to get hit, and that's going to give Canelo an opportunity to maybe get him out of there at some point in the fight. But for the most part, being in a more natural weight class for him, I think it works to Canelo's advantage. So we'll see him do something maybe similar to what he was doing against Caleb Plant, where he might give up a few early rounds, but then later on that power is going to eventually catch up. Let's see, one other fight. Oh, so the Deontay Wilder versus Andy Ruiz Jr. fight was actually going to take place in May. That fight is looking like it's getting pushed back to September or October, because Spence was pushed into May. So what that means is that we're going to maybe see those 2 gentlemen try to set something else up to where there's a pay-per-view that happens for each of them, or maybe they'll both fight on the same card and make it a double stack pay-per-view just to set up their eventual fight later in the year. I think that would be great for marketing, to raise a profile amongst other fans for each fighter. Deontay Wilder is a worldwide known fighter, but I think in the Hispanic fan base, I don't know that he has that following yet. He has a very strong African-American following, and I think he even has a European following because of his juxtaposition against Anthony Joshua some years ago. But I think within the Hispanic community, I don't know that he's there. So I think having Andy Ruiz on the card with him and kind of like a co-main situation, I think it will be a good way to promote them to the opposing fan bases. I don't know a lot of African Americans that are familiar with Andy Ruiz either. So this is a really good way to cross-pollinate and then let everybody know, hey, they're fighting tonight, and as long as they win, they're going to tangle in a couple of months. So maybe you do something like that in the summer around July, and then you put them back in the ring in October, or maybe you could even do it in June. But we'll just need to see everybody stand by for those dates. So that's going to be all that I have for right now. Just wanted to give a little update on some upcoming fights that appear to be either in the works or have been scheduled. So looking forward to a great thing. By my calculation, we've got a pay-per-view every month from March, April, and May, and possibly June, because we also have Devin Haney versus Vasyl Lomachenko that's also targeted for May in the middle of the month. So you're looking at maybe 3 pay-per-views in that same month. So get your change together and get on deck and get ready, because we got some boxing coming up. But this has been T-Word for the Mic Check Podcast. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. We appreciate your support. Until the next time, I'm out.